Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music. This is another video in my series about great Seattle bands that you've probably never heard. And in this case, it falls more in line with the kind of music that people expected from Seattle, a somewhat grunge rock band called Soar Jackson. And they came out in the 80s, and they were completely frenetic, and certainly it qualifies within the grunge category in some respects, but their material was so complex and so hysteric and so intense that they really don't sound like any grunge bands from Seattle. So they really stand alone, and a great bunch of musicians. They're obviously very capable of delivering the kind of complexity they did within such a frenetic thrash, metal, punk, grunge band. The original band included um, Donnie Chappelle on guitar, a drummer named Jeff, Sean Wilson on bass, and Dan Fout on vocals. And he was quite a frontman, I have to say. I'm posting a video of them at a local dive bar that used to have a lot of great shows called the Storeroom. And you can see exactly that things would get out of hand at a Soar Jackson show, and that Dan Fout was quite the front man, and it's really too bad they didn't make it big. I guess they, compared to a lot of the so-called grunge bands in Seattle, they weren't very accessible or very commercial, but they were definitely up there as far as local giants for their fan base and people that saw them. And in their last incarnation, legendary Seattle guitarist Rick DeChurch joined the band. So there's actually two versions of the band. Rick DeChurch was even more technically capable and a great guitar player that they added, which just gave their sound even more complexity and more astonishing freneticism. And right now, the only things that are available are on their Rock Camp page, which I'll post below. Two sets of demos, one with the original band and one with the second version of the band. At the time in 1991, they actually released a demo cassette called Tootsie Roll, and that's part of the demos that I will attach below. But great name too, Soar Jackson, awesome. And once again, showing all the connections between all these Seattle bands. There's a lot of members that float around and end up in different projects. I ended up playing with Rick DeChurch in about 1996 in a band that's been dubbed Bumble Beast, and it was definitely a little more low-key affair. There was some Beefheart and Tom Waits influences, but also African music, and definitely a little, well, a lot more laid back than Soar Jackson. But that band, Bumble Beast, also had Rick DeChurch on guitar, Greg Gilmore from Mother Love Bone and Chubby Children on drums, and Brad Hauser, who went on to fame and fortune with Critters Buggin'. Sadly, he just passed a couple of years ago. But the band Bumble Beast only lasted for a handful of rehearsals. Should have stayed together, did some great stuff, but it was great playing with Rick DeChurch. He's definitely one of the most interesting guitar players I've ever heard. In Bumble Beast, one minute we'd be doing some kind of detuned Beefheart grunt, and the next minute we'd be doing a beautiful lilting music built on African guitar type guitar playing. But Soar Jackson were a completely ferocious beast, and once again, all the links are below. You can check them out if you're into Seattle grunge and you want something a little bit more frenetic, a little bit more complex, and super intense. Then Soar Jackson is well worth checking out. Definitely a legend in this town. A shame they never really hit the big time and lasted a little longer and got some product out, because anybody that heard them or saw them certainly won't forget, and you probably won't either if you check out this live show at the Storeroom that I'm posting below. It's good that we have that. And so Soar Jackson, this one's for the rockers out there that want it to be right in your face. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.